Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. I'm so glad to be back here. It's been about 35 years. My first assignment was Myrtle Beach Air Force Base as an E-1. And thank you to the coalition for inviting me. It's an honor to be back with so many God-fearing United States patriots.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
Now, they asked me what kind of mic I wanted. I said a lapel mic because I tend to move around because I get a little excited. And last night I flew back in here from Cajun country, you know, the home of swamp people, the duck commander, the sportsman's paradise, and a few gators. And the state that this past November retired President Obama's best friend, former Senator Mary Landrieu. I love living in the state of Louisiana and being a member of the Greater New Orleans Tea Party, and don't anybody ever forget that, because the Tea Party believes in two things. And I carry it with me and carried it with me throughout my military career, and that's the Declaration and the Constitution of the United States. And just like y'all, we cling to our guns and our religion. And I'm the son of a hard-boiled Air Force Master Sergeant. And growing up with my three brothers, we traveled all around the country and the world with Mom and Daddy. And trust me, it didn't take long for the four of us to realize how truly blessed we were to be Americans. At 17, I enlisted in the Air Force myself. And for 32 years, as Joe said, I proudly wore this country's uniform. And I took an oath, most importantly, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And though I retired from active duty in 2011 and traded my dress blues in for blue jeans and coats and ties, that oath never expires and never will expire, and I will go to my dying day to protect this country for my grandsons. Now, my wife, Candy, and I, Candy will be the first to tell you that entering politics was the furthest thing from our minds when I left the Air Force in 2011. But we watched those career politicians in Washington, D.C. from both parties jeopardize the American dream every single day and day after day and night after night. And we knew that we were going to have to enlist again to protect our country. We were worried and are worried about the direction of this country. And I refuse to pass on a weaker and less prosperous United States of America to my children and grandsons than the one that I inherited. Because of this, I've devoted the last few years of my life to fight alongside patriots like you to restore liberty, prosperity, and certainty for generations of Americans to come. Almost a month ago, I founded Gator Pack. If you go to YouTube and search Rob Maness and find Gator, that's an ad where you'll see me supposedly wrestle a gator. I deny that, but it's there. It's a great ad. Gator Pack's an organization to give the liberty-minded citizens of this country at the grassroots level like us the teeth and tools to join together and take our government back from the career politicians. You see, this past November, folks like you and I, we helped the Republican Party secure the largest majority in Congress in almost 100 years. This was a monumental victory, ladies and gentlemen. The American people sent a loud, clear message to Washington, D.C. Stop the Obama agenda and move forward with true conservative reform. follow the Constitution. End the lawlessness of the Obama administration. Block all forms of amnesty. Let me repeat that. Block all forms of amnesty, including Obama's illegal executive amnesty. But unfortunately, it seems that some up in Washington, D.C. just didn't get the dang message, folks. Or better yet, and more likely, they simply choose not to listen. In case you're unaware, or for some strange reason, watch MSNBC, our current president has an uncanny ability for not listening to the American people. But even more troubling than that are those go-along to get-along career politicians who for some reason insist on masquerading as Republicans. Y'all know as well as I do that college professors, far more often than not, shall we say, are just a little progressive. So when one beats a sitting House Majority Leader in a primary for the first time in history as a Tea Party candidate, it might be time for Republicans to sit up and take notice. Thank you, Congressman Dave Bratt, for taking that on. Folks, it's not difficult to see why Congressman Bratt won his primary and is now a sitting member of the House of Representatives in the United States Congress. Eric Kander did what all career politicians do. He stopped listening to the people. Those people that he represents, and he decided that he knew best. Well, and that was specifically on immigration and amnesty. So he lost, and Dave Bratt's in the Congress today, who in fact voted against Speaker John Boehner last week. Make no mistake, we are in the midst of the largest influx of uncontrolled, illegal immigration to the United States that we have ever experienced. Companies across this nation are laying off American workers in favor of cheaper foreign labor, and every day the number of people receiving welfare rises. More than 93 million Americans are out of the workforce, a record high. The middle class is eroding before our eyes. No American is immune from feeling the effects of our massive illegal immigration problem. But it's the minorities in our country who are especially affected from an unsecured border that allows illegals to pour in and take entry-level jobs from those hard-working Americans. As a matter of fact, as far back as 1991 in the summer, a woman named Coretta Scott King, the wife of Dr. Martin Luther King, documented her concern along with 8 other civil rights and labor officials in writing to Senator Orrin Hatch. Their concerns were over illegal immigration and that it would rob jobs from poverty-stricken blacks and Hispanics. Today, 24 years later, we are seeing that Mrs. King and her colleagues could not have been more accurate in their predictions. But what do we hear from Washington? The only solutions we hear from them are those that would increase the already enormous labor supply. Putting even more Americans out of work, adding more people to the welfare rolls, and ultimately not eroding, but destroying the middle class of the United States of America, what made it the greatest country in the free world. Career politicians in both parties for far too long have either been unable or more importantly and probably unwilling to recognize the problems their immigration reform proposals create. And they have completely ignored the messages that we, the people, are sending them at their peril. So now, if that wasn't clear enough, let me use this platform and this microphone to try one more time to get our message across to them. Yes, our immigration system is broken, but we will not allow illegal aliens, because they are just that, despite what the PC police tell us every day. We will not allow illegal aliens who break our laws to be rewarded by our government with our jobs and free handouts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We will not stand by and allow this to happen, not on our watch. We've said time and time again, we will not allow immediate amnesty for millions of illegal aliens with just the promise of border security down the road. We've seen this story before, and we will not be fooled again. Even President Ronald Reagan was once fooled by future promises of border security once amnesty was granted, but we will not be fooled again. Allowing this border to be unsecure continuously is killing our economy and forcing more and more Americans and legal immigrants into unemployment, and we must stop this trend. Secure the border. While the damage to our economy is a massive issue, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot be tricked into believing that it's not also a threat to our national security. We live in dangerous times. As we've witnessed these last few weeks, we're constantly hearing about terrorist attacks throughout the world and continue to face these threats here at home. Having been in the Pentagon on 9/11 in September 2001, I refuse to stand by while our porous border policies continue to present the opportunity for terrorists to enter the United States. Last summer should have proven to every single American that our border was not secure. The humanitarian crisis at our border, where thousands of illegal aliens, many of them children, flooded into the United States, was an embarrassment for our country and the Obama administration, whether they want to admit it or not. Of course, they won't be willing to admit it, considering how the big they, pretend this president can't make any mistakes and do any wrong. But let's be honest, we've been fortunate that no terrorist attacks resulted from that crisis that we're aware of. But because of the Obama policy of not securing our border, criminals from all over the world did make their way into our country. And we don't know whether we will experience a terrorist attack from that policy. Back home in Louisiana, a woman was recently beaten to death by an illegal alien who crossed the border and was allowed to go free in the U.S. by authorities. This could have been prevented. So many more lives can be saved if we just secure the border. During my final military assignment, I commanded a large installation in the American Southwest, a border state. One of our biggest concerns on a daily basis was the threat of infiltration from terrorists. It was a major concern then, in 2010 and 11, and I guarantee you that it's no different today. It's worse. Mr. President, secure the border. Secure the border. Secure the border now. I love this young lady. She's got a big old clock that I can see. Because I'm notorious for going long, but I won't, I promise. In case y'all haven't heard, this Tuesday night, Of course, if you live in a cave under a rock, you haven't heard. Just a couple of days from now, the president's going to give his State of the Union address to a joint session of Congress. Y'all know that, right? Yeah. Well, you know what he'll do? He's going to turn it into another campaign commercial because that's what he's good at. And not actually tell millions of Americans who will probably tune in the actual State of the Union. So let me cover a few things today and give you the State of the Union. These United States are in unprecedented times. Our economy is being diminished every day by a president and Congress that has, up to this point, refused to address any real solutions to get us back on track. They refuse to secure our border, threatening further damage to our economy and purposely weakening our national security. And while they propose measures to reform our immigration system, all they are offering is amnesty to millions of illegal aliens that will weaken our country. President Obama has made clear that he will go it alone and unconstitutionally grant executive amnesty to these illegal aliens. That is the state of this union. But folks, the State of the Union that cannot be overlooked in all of this is sitting right here in this room. It's people like you and me, the God-fearing American patriots that will not stand idly by and watch. Watch our president and our Congress harm the America we all still love so dear. We will not allow a lawless president to shred our Constitution any longer. Too many men and women have shed their blood. Too much treasure has been spent to protect it. And the world needs it. We will not allow this Congress to get away with not securing our border and granting free access to illegal aliens again to harm our economy and our national security. We will not allow it. We will not allow it. We will not allow it any longer. We stand united, holding our elected officials accountable. The solutions to our border crisis are rather clear. Secure the border, Mr. President. Do not allow a pathway to citizenship for illegal aliens who have broken our laws. And do not allow one red penny to be spent on anything other than securing our border and repatriating those who have broken the law to come to this country. It's time. It's time we stand up again and be counted and demand that the only immigration into the United States of America is legal immigration. It's been an honor to be with you here today. I thank each and every one of you for taking a stand and fighting for liberty, prosperity, and certainty for all the generations to come. I'm retired Colonel Rob Maness. Thank you very much. I love you all. I love God. God bless these United States of America.